Well, the car show and cruise night season is over for another year. But what a great season it was. We've seen a lot of cars and had a lot of fun. Most of the cars we've seen before, but there are a few new ones that made their first appearance. This is one of those videos where I talk with car owners to learn more about their automobiles. Automobiles that we often pass by and think, hey, nice car, but we really don't know that much about them. This will spotlight a few of our local cars and put a name and face and story to a few of those classic car owners. Let's start with Gary's 1929 Model A. You know, this car sat for many years, and when found, no one could start it. That is, until Gary discovered it had positive ground. Now it runs like a top. If you haven't met George, let me introduce you. This is George's beautiful 57 Chevy convertible. But like most cars, it didn't start out that way. George stripped the car down and added a floor, a hood, and a trunk from a donor car. Fortunately, they're still making quarter panels and the like for this car, which he added. This 57 Chevy has a new original-looking interior. And he's had the original 283 rebuilt. This is a perfect car in every way. Garrow is another 57 Chevy convertible owner. Like George, his car is also in perfect condition. The only difference is Garrow bought his pretty much as you see it here. Garrow is a regular at our cruise nights, and he and his wife go cruising every chance they get. Thanks, Garrow, for showing off your car. And oh, by the way, Garrow also owns a pretty nifty Corvette. This is Tom's 37 Ford making one of its first appearances. He also bought this pretty much as you see it here. Tom found this Ford in Peterborough, and someone did an incredible job of restoration. The maroon paint really glistens, and it's fitted out with a standard 350 engine with a 4-barrel. The interior is all custom. Just have a look at this beautiful dash with all new gauges. And the seats are made for pure comfort. Tom's 37 Ford is one beautiful automobile. Speaking of beautiful cars, we have many. This is Ken's 32 Buick. Here's Ken's story.
It's what they call a 5-passenger coupe or Vicky. It's a 60 series, a little bigger than the usual size. It was a barn find up around Niagara. We brought it home. It didn't have a roof in it or a floor. It was all rusty and needed a few repairs. But it took about 3 years to build it. It has a 4.8 GMC pickup engine, the automatic electronic transmission in it. It's a great cruiser down the highway. We drive it down through the States. It's very comfortable.
As a depression car, there aren't many of these full-size Buicks around.
It is a rare car. Yeah, there wasn't that many Buicks. They made 4 different sizes of cars. This is one of the bigger ones, and it's a 5-passenger coupe. Most of them were sedans. So, yeah, it's fairly rare.
Ken has always been a classic Buick fan. There's something about the engine compartment that he likes.
I like the long hood on them. They had a straight 8 engine. They made a lot of room for a newer motor to go in. I had a 33. We got this 32, and I have a 34.
The classic look of the dash has been maintained. But Ken has added a little of his own taste by including an imitation alligator interior. This car is up for sale, but it comes with a pretty heavy price tag for those connoisseurs of fine automobiles. You may recall Ken's 34 Buick Woody that started out from literally nothing. All the oak and walnut came from his own property. You know, Buick didn't make a Woody in 34, but Ken has done an outstanding job in making this one. This is Gary, and this is Gary's Little Deuce 3-window coupe that he's owned for 33 years. Like a lot of car owners, Gary started from scratch, finding bits and pieces wherever he could find them.
Just a little bit of hunting, here and there. You never know. Found the hood someplace and the gas tank someplace else.
This car still has its original restoration paint job done all those years ago.
I keep threatening to repaint it, but everybody tells me to leave it alone. It's patina. 33 years of patina.
This little deuce coupe is a driver, and Gary still has the original flathead engine.
It's a pretty well a full race flathead with dual carbs and 3/4 cam in it. It's pretty good running motor with air conditioning. 3-speed stick shift. Not much else to say about it, just a good, reliable motor.
Like all car owners, Gary is a likable guy, and he sure likes those flathead engines.
I used to race flatheads at Checker Flag Raceway. I enjoyed it. They were always good motors for me, so I used up what I had and put it in there.
Gary says he's not afraid to put the pedal to the metal, and in his words, it still runs really good. Here's a look at the dash with a few extra gauges. He's had the seats redone by someone else, and also had the roof chopped 3.5 inches. Gary drives this car at least a couple times a week in good weather. Here's Bob's beautiful GMC pickup. Some time back he bought it pretty much as you see it here.
The truck has got very low mileage on it, and it's just something that I drive and fix all the time, you know, to work on it, that's all. If I want to go out, I go out. If I want to fix it, I fix it.
This pickup has a beautiful interior that's extremely comfortable.
Well, the interior is brand new. It's done with real cowhide. The owner who had it went up and bought some cowhides and made the interior with it, and leather.
Bob doesn't drive this pickup very much. Mostly it's kept garaged.
It goes out maybe once or twice a month. That's about it, you know. That's about it. I could drive it anywhere I wanted to.
Here's a look at the oak bed in the back. Now, that's what I call badging. There's no doubt this is a GMC. Under the hood is a powerful 327 with a 4-barrel, but Bob never pushes it.
No, I never abuse. That's one thing. I've always had hot rods and Model A's and rat rods and that, but I've never let them go. I never raced them. No, it's not my thing.
The chrome still looks great. And one thing you notice is the condition of the ancient paint job with purple trim at the belt line.
It still has the old lacquer paint on it. It's showing its age, but it's been on there a long time. This truck, I don't know how long it's been on, but it's been there for a while.
Like so many others, childhood memories played a part in Tom building this Model A, with a little help from a lot of friends.
I always wanted a Model A. I had one when I was a kid, a little hot rod on the farm. My dad bought it and had a buzzsaw on it. And I took the buzzsaw off and I shortened the frame up and made it into a little hot rod. And I always liked them, and I decided I want one.
I like the license plate, and I asked how he found this car.
Well, my friend Roy Shank found it on eBay. It was in Chatham, just the shell. You know, no roof on it or nothing. Just a plain old shell. So we picked that up and went from there.
This really was a ground-up build. The shell needed everything, including a frame.
Oh, I built the frame out of material out of Atlas tube in Harrow. It's 2x4, and then it's tapered at the front. Tony Frateroli helped me make the frame at the front so it fits the Model A, all the Model A stuff. Like the fenders are supposed to fit on it, everything fits on it, but I just didn't put them on. I just put a 9-inch Ford rear end in it, positive traction. Just happened to be, by luck, I got one with positive traction. And I got an AOD automatic overdrive transmission with a 302, and it has a mild cam in it. Just a 2-barrel. I just wanted good gas mileage, and just went from there.
The shade of blue paint really attracts attention.
It's a Ford paint. I don't know whether it was off of a Ford Focus or something. About 5 years ago it came out, this color. And a friend of mine painted it, and he added a bit of sparkle to it, and that's why it looks, I'm happy with it.
So many friends had a hand in this car.
I had some glass for it that came with it, But I had a friend that has a glass company, and he made all the glass up new for me with a tinted. It's called smoke glass.
Nice looking wood dash and new gauges.
Well, the dash is walnut. Another friend of mine, he's into woodworking, and he actually took 2 pieces of walnut and glued them together, and then I finished it, and I drilled it all out, put all the gauges in, and it worked out good.
And what about the seating?
It's all of the neon. The bucket seats in the front are neon. The back seats neon. I just had to narrow the bottom part of the back seat because it was about 4 inches or 8 inches too wide. So I had this upholstery friend of mine did it.
Tom's a guy with a lot of friends. He says this car handles and rides like a dream on the highway. Here's Rick, the owner of this shiny new Dodge Demon. Demon is a good name for it as it's a devil on the open road. This car is all about horsepower and speed. It's a real mover. Rick doesn't push it though. Rick is about to pop the hood on this car. And here's a look at the engine. It's a 6.2-liter, 840 horsepower Red Key monster. And Rick says 2018 was the only year Chrysler produced this car. Now here's a look at the interior. It's a 2-seater. There is no back seat. You may remember an interview I did with Rick a couple of years ago about his 2015 Hellcat. That was another fast-moving Red Key special. Well, not long ago, Rick sold that car for $5,000 more than he paid for it. That's the rarity and desirability of these cars. Now, let me introduce you to Paul. Paul is the owner of this 2005 Lamborghini, and he drives it at least a couple times a week. Here's a look at the engine idling. It's a 5-liter V10. I was standing behind about 10 feet back of the car when he revved it up. The noise was deafening, and the exhaust blast nearly knocked me off my feet. Here's Paul.
I've been looking for a little while, and I really wanted an orange one. I figured if it's going to be a Lambo, I might as well get something sort of loud visually, right? And but I wanted a manual, and there are very few left with manuals in orange. So I kept looking around, and I couldn't find one in Canada. I got this out of Arizona.
This rocket was made for racing.
I'm going to take it to the track at least a couple times a year, and I've always kind of wanted something that was just, you don't see coming and going. My other car is a 61 Lincoln suicide door convertible. You also don't see that coming and going. So I figured I'll get the polar opposites of the spectrum.
Walt's 41 Dodge isn't quite as fast or sleek as that Lambo, but it's just fresh from restoration after sitting idle in a garage for more than 60 years. He's owned it for 22 years. Over the past couple of years, Walt got interested in restoring it. He did all the work himself, including the paint and interior. My goodness, look at the time. Perhaps I can squeeze in just one more? This is Ron's 57 Chevy pickup that he bought in Leamington.
I collect 57 Chevs, and this is a 57 Chev pickup. I had to have a pickup after having so many 57 Chevs.
I asked him what his attraction was to this pickup.
It's a drivable car. Not fast. It's got all the modern technology. It's air conditioning, cruise control. It's got overdrive. It's fuel injection. All you do is turn the key and go.
Ron tells me everything that's not red has been powder coated.
I added the chrome and cleaned it up. Added up the chrome front end and detailed it.
Except for a few extras, this truck is exactly as he bought it. Under the hood is a standard 350 with electronic ignition. It's Ron's belief these 57 Chevy pickups are pretty rare in this condition. There's so much more car and owner information to tell, but that will have to do it for now. Remember, you can view past videos by going to YouTube and in the YouTube search engine entering Prime Links 86. And for older videos, also in the YouTube search engine, enter autonameplates.com. Make sure you're in the YouTube search engine though. Thanks for viewing. So long for now. And as always, come spring, we'll see you at the car shows and cruise nights.